Hello, Craig Swan for Leverage Academy, and welcome to another session of Short and Sharp, where we do our best to give you sharp information in a short format. Now, today's topic that I'm going to discuss with you is Class 1 licenses. How do I get a Class 1? Do I need a Class 1 license? We'll leave that for another topic, but how do I get a Class 1 is today's topic. Now, on the board behind me here, I've got 3 points. On the first one, it says that the licensee was in charge as at the 23rd of the 3rd this year. So the very first way in which you could have got a Class 1 license is if you were the licensee in charge as at the 23rd of the 3rd, being the 23rd of March this year, meaning that you were the licensee in charge of a sole trader or a partnership or a business. Doesn't really matter what business vehicle you were the licensee in charge of, as long as you were the licensee in charge of that business and those details were recorded at the Office of Fair Trading. Now, these rules that I'm about to go through apply to whether you are a real estate agent or a stock and station agent or a strata manager. So that Class 1, Class 2 assistant agent regime applies to all those. So the first way in which you can become or hold a Class 1 is if you were the licensee in charge at the magic date, right? The second way in which you could become a Class 1, which is still available now, is if you held your license for 2 years prior to the 23rd of March this year. So you might have held one or more licenses, and you've held that license in the prior regime for 2 years or more. If you're in that category of person, then you have the opportunity to say now, or certainly before the 22nd of March next year, in that 12-month period, you must be able to go to the OFT and say, I have held my license for 2 years before the magic date, the 23rd of the 3rd this year, and therefore I'm entitled to be granted a Class 1. May I please have one? Here's my money. Okay? So the first one has come and gone. If you were not able to get a Class 1 under the first option, well, clearly that's gone. Or the second option, there are many of you watching this who may still be eligible to say, I want my Class 1 because I qualify for it. Both of these two are considered to be grandfathering provisions, okay? Now, the third method by which you can get a Class 1 is what they call the pathway method, which is the method that most people coming after you, in other words, the vast majority of people from this point onwards who enter the real estate industry, this is what they're going to have to do. They will enter real estate by doing their assistant agent course. Okay? Once they've got their assistant agent course under their belt and they've registered, then there is 3 things that have to happen. There's a time component, an experience component, and a qualification component to move from the assistant agent level to the Class 2 level. So those 3 components being time, experience, and qualification. So if I'm an assistant agent, I must be on that level for at least 12 months, no more than 4 years. I must keep a logbook, that's my experience, and I must finish my certificate for qualification. If I do all of those things and I apply to the OFT, I will be granted a Class 2 license in whatever category I'm working in, 1 or more, right? When I'm Class 2, it's the same thing. I'm going to have to do time, experience, and qualifications again, but they're a bit different. So if I want to move from Class 2 to Class 1, then I'm going to have to stay in that Class 2 position for at least 2 years. I must then show my experience by filling in the same logbook, but there are different requirements for me to fill in. And I must, in terms of the qualification, I must do my diploma upgrade. But if I do all those 3 things, time, experience, and qualifications, and I'm a Class 2, that will then allow me to then apply for my Class 1 license. So in short and sharp, as we say, there are really 3 ways in which you can get a Class 1. The first one has come and gone, okay? It was available, it's now gone. That leaves us really with 2. If you've been in the industry before the 23rd of the 3rd, and you might have held your license 1 or more for more than 2 years prior to that date, then there's an opportunity perhaps for you to qualify under that provision to get a Class 1. and that there's no further study required. But most of the time, we're going to be talking about this pathway provision, where most people are going to have to move from assistant agent up to class 2 and then up to class 1. And the fastest way in which you're going to go from here to here, if you're a new entrant into the industry, is 3 years, because it's 12 months as an assistant agent to get to class 2, the fastest way you can do it, and then it's another 24 months to go to from class 2 to class 1, assuming of course that you do the required study, and assuming of course that you're getting your boss to sign off on your logbook. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that's been useful. If you have any questions, then you should give us a call at Leverage Academy, and we look forward to talking to you, and stay safe.